Yes, I've been quiet, I know. I know I've been quiet, guys. I know. And that is because I've been racking my brain recently, trying to figure out topics to kind of bring to you guys. And we've gone from daily vlogs, we've gone from exercise advice, which we're going to continue, by the way. We're going to continue our Muscle Lab episode soon. But essentially, I wanted to come up with a topic that has always debated, it's always debated, and no one really makes clear videos about this topic.
You serious?
And today's topic, we always hear, you know, you got to stay motivated, you got to keep going, you got to keep grinding, you got to, stay in your lane, you got to get focused. But essentially it all boils down to, we always hear that we should stay motivated in order to reach our goals, right? But essentially, what is motivation really? Is it some intangible force that engulfs us and that propels us to new highs?
Let me put it in a language you can understand.
Or is it a figment of our imagination? Is it something that we, conjure up in our head in order to get us to the next level? And that is the question that we're going to try and answer today. Now, I've plotted a simple graph here. Stress on the y-axis, motivation on the x-axis, right? Simple. So the stress that we're referring to, all sorts of external stresses. This could be car payments, mortgage payments. It could be, an upcoming test. It could be an upcoming interview, a big opportunity for your company, something like that. An external stressor, right? And traditionally, if you look at this, you would think, all right, obviously, it would look something along those lines, right? So hence, the less external stresses we have, the greater our motivation, right?
Recurring segment on our show called Explain That Gram, where we do a deep dive on our guest Instagram, pull interesting.
Think about it. If your car payment is due, let's say in 2 weeks, right? You begin to panic because you don't have enough money in your bank account, right? Some unforeseen event occurred that you needed to, take money out of your account. You needed to sort that out first. Now you don't have enough money for your car payments, right? Your external stress is skyrocketing at the moment. And what happens to your motivation? It dwindles, right? Essentially, if you really think about it, who can stay completely motivated and completely positive under a very stressful situation? 99% of the people can't. There are people that can. I'm not discrediting them. But 99% of people can't stay calm and stay cool and stay motivated under that kind of situation, right? So essentially, the more your stress increases, the less your motivation becomes. Okay? Simple to understand. Because now, another week rolls by, you still don't have enough money. Guess what happens? Your motivation becomes even less, your stress becomes even higher. Alright? So seemingly, motivation is some sort of force, right, that allows us to overcome the pressures of these external stresses, right? Now, the golden question is, what exactly is it? Where does it come from, right? Where does motivation come from? And I solely believe that motivation can either be external or it can be internal, right? We always hear about external and internal motivation, right? External motivation comes from people truly supporting you, right? It could be an achievement. For example, if you performed well at work, you are rewarded. That is an external source of motivation. But what motivates you to perform better at work? That is going to come from your internal source, right? And to be fully motivated, obviously, these two need to be working together, right? You can be internally motivated, sure, well done. But if your circumstances are so terrible that it completely degrades you, you're going to be lacking external motivation, and that internal motivation is going to have to make up for the loss in external motivation. Also, vice versa. If your external motivation is great, everyone's cheering you on, right? But you don't believe in yourself and your internal motivation is degrading, well, then that is just that is just as bad as this one lacking, right? If that makes complete sense. So in essence, the whole message is that your external motivation needs to cooperate with your internal motivation. One cannot survive without the other. People can't be cheering you on and you're not believing in yourself. That's not going to help you. Vice versa, if you're believing in yourself, that's great. But if other people are not backing you, and people always say, oh, it doesn't matter what other people say, it still has an influence on your psyche, right? If you're that positive person that wants to accomplish these goals and you want to do those things, but you constantly, every single day you hear, that's not good, that's not realistic, you should do this, you should do that. Ultimately, it gets to even the strongest of people. It gets to me sometimes as well, right? To be completely honest, and that's sometimes why I'm in a bad headspace because of that. Despite my internal motivation being top notch, right? So now, what can we do? What can we do in a situation in which our internal motivation is great, but our external influences are complete crap, right? Because those external influences are trying to bring our internal motivation down. What can we do to counter that? Well, there are a few simple techniques. There are a few simple techniques that I myself have used, and I'm sure a lot of you can add to this list, right? But the first thing is ignoring the noise. Simply blocking out any negativity. It's easier said than done, believe me, but sometimes it does work. Irrespective of what people say around you, you got to be focused. You got to have tunnel vision, and that's the only way you can block out that noise, right? The second is to try and remedy the situation, right? If you're constantly hearing this is not going to work, that's too bad, walla walla walla, well, guess what? You're going to have a conversation with these people. You're going to have to try and see things from their perspective, and perspective can do a lot for you in terms of your motivation. Because if you actually see, if people have a logical reason for criticizing you or for criticizing your motivation to do something, then it might make you more realistic, right? You might sit back and you might think, okay, maybe they were right. Maybe I should do it this more realistic way instead of, thinking too extreme, right? So essentially those two things are the most important things. Blocking out the noise and trying to remedy the situation, trying to get some perspective, right, are the two things that we can do if our internal motivation is good, but our external motivation is bad, right? What do we do in the reverse situation? What do we do in the reverse situation? Let's say we're getting encouraged by all of our peers and all of our friends and family, but we don't believe in ourselves. What can we do then? The thing I like to do most in that situation is read about other people's stories. Read about how other people came from nothing and made a success of their lives, right? Let's take that man for an example. Let's take him for an example. That man came from a trailer park. He had nothing, absolutely nothing. His days at the hip hop shop, he battled a few oaks here and there. He was popular on the street, right? But his external circumstances, his father leaving him, right? His poverty. But yet he still managed to get where he is. That is a pure example. And you reading stories like that when your internal motivation is lagging is going to ignite that spark. And believe me, it might sound like a cliche, but it will happen. That spark will get ignited and you will find a new source. And the moment these two work together, you're unstoppable. Literally, you're unstoppable. Except for death or sickness. Obviously there are things that we got to take into consideration. But figuratively speaking, you are then unstoppable. Right? So essentially, what is our motivation of definition to take away from this? What is our motivation of definition? I'll give you one. Right? So I believe that motivation is the combination of internal and external influences that elevate your psyche, elevate your self-esteem, and allow you to move forward and reach new heights in life. Right? Please leave your definition of motivation down below in the comment section. I want to thank you for watching this video so much. We're going to dive into topics like these. Topics aren't really discussed, so we're going to continue diving into them. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please, before you leave, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.